Congratulations. Please be seated. Graduates, it's now time for my valedictory to you. A valedictory, quite literally, means to say farewell. But it is more than just goodbye. It is my chance to offer, with pride and with hope, a final word as you step from this chapter into what comes next. First, and most importantly, congratulations. To you, our graduates, and to those who walked this path beside you, parents, partners, family, and friends, well done. My wife and I, as parents of 2 Kettering graduates, including one receiving his 2nd degree from the university today, share deeply in your joy. I especially like hosting commencement in Atwood. We came back to the stadium during COVID after a long absence, but it quickly became clear that this space holds something special, a sense of tradition, of celebration, and of shared purpose, and of history. And today, the day has matched the occasion. The clouds even parted for us to make this celebration possible. Commencement is my favorite day in the life of the university, and I know many of my colleagues feel the same way, because it is perhaps our most treasured tradition, not just because of what we mark, but of what we glimpse. A colleague of mine said in the waiting to move up to the stage today, said, "This is the why of what we do." I thought that captured it beautifully. Looking back, you may be surprised at how quickly your time here has passed. But pause for a moment and look at what's changed, how much you've changed, how much the world has changed around you. It seems only yesterday I welcomed you to New Student Convocation. Maybe you remember my remarks from that day, maybe not. Okay, probably not. But what I told you then was this: your time here would be a blank canvas, and you, the artist. What I meant, and still mean by that, is that education is not a transaction, it is a transformation, and it begins with hope. Hope is the foundation of learning, and universities, at their best, are beacons of that hope. That is what makes a university community so extraordinary, and why it has been my great honor to walk this part of the journey with you. Commencement marks a turning point in that journey, and yes, an end, but also a beginning. You are setting out in different directions, with different degrees, following different stars, but you leave with something in common: the achievement of having met and mastered one of the most rigorous educational experiences in the country. You've faced disruption, and through it, you've learned. You have had time to reflect and to begin to figure out what you truly value. You have seen and witnessed that heroes exist all around us. You've seen acts of sacrifice and maybe even performed some yourself. You've had to assess and manage risk and the consequences of the risks you take on those who are precious around you. And you have seen that actively managing that risk is a critical component of creation and innovation, and ultimately progress. Progress of the kind that calls on judgment, the kind that shapes character, and the kind that defines leadership. And in all of that, you've grown. Now, you leave us here with more than knowledge. You leave with an obligation to ask better questions, to seek truth, to make things better. The right questions are, after all, the great equalizers. Use what you've learned not only to build, but to serve. Let your education animate a life of purpose, and don't settle. Leave the world a more interesting place for your having been here, and leave it a better place, more just, more sustainable, more humane because of your actions. You may be very proud to be a graduate of this university. It is now part of who you are, and you will always be part of who we are. You are woven into the fabric of this place, no matter how far you go. I've gotten to know many of you well, so days like today, days of endings and new beginnings, are bittersweet by their very nature. I will miss seeing you in the halls, catching up over coffee in the LC, or trading ideas in passing. But I look forward to knowing you in your next chapter, as an alumni, as colleagues, as contributors to a future that urgently needs your intellect and your integrity. I wish for you this: good health, contentment, and deep fulfillment. Or in the words of Garrison Keillor, be well, do good work, and keep in touch. Congratulations, graduates, and Godspeed. At this time, I would like to ask all of the graduates to please rise. It is my distinct pleasure to congratulate you on your achievement and to ask that you now move your tassels from the right to the left. Would the audience please join me in congratulating our newest graduates? And now, graduates, before we conclude, I would like to recognize some of the very important guests who are with us today. It is a simple truth of life that without the help of many, there's no way that you or any of us would be here on this glorious day. We each owe great debts to those who have touched and enriched our lives. Edith Wharton once said, "There are two ways of spreading light, to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it." Today, you are the candle. As we bask in the glow of your accomplishment, it is also important that we and you recognize the many mirrors in your life. Would the following members of the audience please stand and remain standing as I recognize you? The parents of our graduates, the spouses and children of our graduates, the grandparents and other family members of our graduates, and the special friends of our graduates. Now, graduates, while you are standing, I invite you to turn towards those who have touched your lives and show your appreciation to them for their love, support, and investment in you and your future. The 2025 Kettering University Commencement Ceremony is now concluded. Congratulations, graduates.